Greetings, everyone, and welcome to June episode of Seeds of Unity. Presents Voices in Mission, a visual podcast where we share stories of faith, mission, and vocation. Today, I would like to share a part of my own vocation journey, a journey of grace marked by faith, questions, encounters, struggles, and trust in God. I grew up in a polygamous family as the last born among 4 children from my mother. Although we were Catholics, my family was not practicing, and faith was not an important part of our daily life. My Christian journey began in primary school through one of my classmates. Every Monday, he will gather some friends and share what the priest had preached during the Sunday homily. One day, noticing that I was never there, he came and sat on my bench during break time and shared with me what he has learned in church. Little by little, he spoke to me about God and invited me to be attending masses, most especially on Sundays. At first, I was afraid because of my parents, but after much hesitation, I asked for permission to my mother and she agreed, but warning me not to stay long. Though I went late for my first time, but that Sunday changed my life. Soon after, my classmate invited me to become an altar server, and to do so, I had to be baptized or at least be a catechumen. Since my mother did not want to hear anything about catechism, I began attending doctrine classes in secret. At one point, I gave up and stopped going to church. But after some time, I gathered the courage to return. Although I had to repeat my catechism classes, I persevered until I finally received baptism and First Holy Communion on August 15, 1996. Later, I received the sacrament of confirmation on January 16, 1999. I informed my parents about my baptism on the eve of the celebration, and they were completely shocked. And I can still remember my father asking me if they now baptize people without them doing doctrine, because I was doing the catechism but in hiding. At that time, I never imagined becoming a religious sister. Like many young girls, I dreamed of marriage and family life and the future I imagined for myself. In 2004, my journey took a new direction when some Sacred Heart sisters from my home parish invited me to come and help them in their garden, and later introduced me to a vocation group. At first, I resisted the idea because I was afraid of my parents, especially my mother. But gradually, something began to grow within me. When my family discovered my intention, life at home became difficult. The atmosphere was often tense, and the pressure increased from every side. At one point, my brother even wrote letters and encouraged my father to take the priest and I to court because according to him, I was still a minor and was being influenced by priests to leave home. That was his own idea. As the tension grew, my parents stopped paying my school fees because they know for me to go to the convent, I am supposed to have at least the advanced level. So stopping me from going to school was to prevent me from going to the convent. Faced with this situation, I had to look for work in order to continue my education. Through the kindness and support of our local bishop, I was given the opportunity to work in the rabbitry. And at that time, I did not care whether that job was meant for men or women. There, I worked and saved money so that I could eventually return to school. Out of fear and pressure, I have to tell my family that I had abandoned the idea of religious life. Yet, deep inside me, the desire continued to grow stronger. There were moments of confusion and struggle when I asked myself whether this was truly the path God wanted for me or I was making up story. During those difficult moments, I will go into my room, light a candle, and pray. Jesus and Mother Mary, if truly you are the one calling me to this life, show me the way and make everything possible for me. As time went on, the call to religious life became stronger and clearer in my heart. Despite my fears and the resistance from my family, I could no longer ignore the deep peace I felt whenever I thought about giving my life to God. My father wanted me to work in the health sector, and knowing he will never accept my decision immediately, I told him that I was going to stay with the sisters to learn nursing, not to become a sister. That was after I've passed my advanced level. And that was how I finally left home and begin my formation journey. As I look back on this journey, I can see God's hand at work in ways I did not always understand at the time. There were moments of fear, confusion, resistance, and uncertainty. What began as a hidden search for faith gradually became a journey of trust and surrender. My vocation story is not a story of certainty from the beginning. It is a story of listening, persevering, and trusting God even when the road ahead was unclear. Yet, through every challenge, God remained faithful. He used ordinary people, unexpected opportunities, and even difficult situations to guide me step by step. What seemed impossible to me gradually became possible through His grace. Today, I am grateful for the journey, for the people who encouraged me, for the struggles that strengthened my faith, and for the gift of being able to respond to God's call. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope that my story encourages you to trust God's plan for your own life and to remain open to the ways He continues to call each of us every day. May God bless you, and may Mary continue to guide and protect us all. Till then,